Hi everyone, my name is Marco Hernandez, minus Marco or Marco, and welcome back. I wanted to discuss my top 5 favorite games revealed from the various indie game developers at the Black and Voices Gaming Showcase on June 2nd. So, for those who don't know, this is a non-profit organization aiming to highlight black video game developers across the industry. And this showcase was part of the Summer Games Fest weekly grand gaming event where a lot of like gaming events were happening, announcements happening throughout the whole week. And this is a supplementary video to my article. In the article, I wrote that basically all the games are revealed, just so you have a bit of information about a few of them, especially because in the showcase they had some exclusive interviews and developer spotlights throughout the showcase with certain games. So there's a bit of context with some of the development and the story behind them, and the article would go over that. And the link to the article is in the description below if you want to go check that out. And so, as a quick disclaimer, this is my first time seeing one of these Black and Voices in Gaming showcases. Some of these games have been highlighted in last year's showcase, so I saw all these indie games for the first time. Let's get right into it, shall we? And I'll go into discussing in descending order. So from 5 to 1. At number 5, I have Diesel Knights. It is a first-person and third-person 6v6 shooter developed by Xavier B. Johnson. As soon as I saw this game, I immediately thought of Titanfall, which is, I believe, a big inspiration for the game. I cannot confirm that, but the developer did acknowledge like a comment about the Smart Pistol from Titanfall. Someone commented about that in one of his YouTube videos about the game, and he replied to it. And so I'm thinking he's aware of like maybe people considering that both games look very similar. I'm sure it's like his inspiration and why this game it resembles a lot of what Titanfall is. Anyway, the game has a similar movement to Titanfall where you can wall run, double jump, and it keeps like a similar pace of the Titanfall game where there's like you could kind of like combine these movements together, flow into one another, and it feels kind of like free flowing from there. And then there are giant mics you can pilot in this game that resemble what the Titans were in that FPS game. I think they also like fall from the sky, kind of like Titanfall. But there are some things that do make it stand out from that game. And the first and obvious one is the setting and aesthetic. The game has this diesel punk look to it, and it looks like it takes place like in the 1940s because of the weapons, the environments, and the mechs in this world. They all have like a World War aesthetic to it, and even the pilots you play as kind of look like they're wearing like bomber jackets and carry kind of a ton of green army bags around them, and so it really resembles that period of warfare. So I think visually this game does stand out from Titanfall because of that. And then the second thing is that there is third person gameplay. This is something that Titanfall did not have. I guess they had like third person animations with like some of the executions, but there wasn't no gameplay set in that perspective. So it's pretty cool to see how this game is like tackling that and kind of giving you that full scale perspective of what it is to be wall running, jumping around, double jumping, with this third person perspective, which is pretty interesting. And then I saw that there was no game release date yet announced for this game, but it does seem like an exciting game to try. I think it is only a PvP mode only game. I don't know if there's any kind of story component, campaign component to it, similar to Titanfall or Titanfall 2. I mean, but hey, I'm sure there's some story bits and some lore that goes behind this universe, which is pretty cool. Number 4, I have Black Sailor as my next favorite game that caught my eye. Black Sailor is a tactical turn-based RPG set during the colonization of Brazil in the 19th century, and it is developed by Mandiga Games. What piqued my interest in this game was the story, where it follows a group of enslaved Africans who took over a ship and are fighting against the Portuguese from the colonization. And it dives deep into the African characters by accurately depicting the ethnic groups of that time. And I especially love games when they take place during a non-fiction setting in history, and it allows for someone like myself to learn about that era or about that period of time. And I could definitely say for myself, I do not know anything about the colonization of Brazil, so that this game is like an outlet for me to understand that. And what's especially cool is like in the showcase, the developer was spotlighted for this game, and so he gave more in depth of the history and his uh, story for covering or for making this game set in that kind of era. He wanted to essentially focus on those who were conquered instead of the conqueror or an explorer in this setting. Um, and he wants to depict that from the perspective of those enslaved Africans as part of those who were conquered at that time. Its gameplay is also neat, where you strategize how you can manage this crew in different areas of the ship on every turn, so that you can effectively respond to the enemy's attacks. And it's a pretty cool like strategy game that I have not played in a while, so I think this will be a good game for me to jump back into that kind of genre of game and understand that form of gameplay a bit more. I'm also especially a fan of the art style of this game. It has this kind of like warm and vibrant, cartoonish look to it, and it really matches the setting of the game. It kind of gives it like a, I would say, I don't know. I wouldn't say like a Disney-esque aesthetic, but I think with the era it's set in, it really matches the mood and the vibe of the game. There's no set release date on this game. I think it's just set to release in 2027. Roller Girl takes the third place spot for my favorite game. This is like an exploration, open world type of game where you roll around a town in your rollerblades, completing various tasks, and also just delivering things around the neighborhood. And the story is that you're doing these tasks around town to earn cash because the main character recently got their first car, and then it broke down immediately. So they're looking for ways to earn money to then fix it. And the journey is to use your rollerblades to do various things for different people. And then what I most especially love about this game, and it's a very crucial part of the gameplay, is the MP3 player, where you can listen to many songs of various genres in the game, and the song's mood can depict how you perceive the world and also just the way you interact with it. So like, for example, playing a happy song makes the world more vibrant, and your movement seems faster as well. And then a more somber song will make everything a lot darker. It rains, and then your movement's much slower as well. And so it seems like the music also extends past just yourself and even the characters you interact with. Based off the showcase, the developer was mentioning that the characters also behave differently, and your dialogue options when speaking to them are different as well, depending on the song. So I feel like there's kind of like various maybe branches of how you could progress in this game because of that, depending on the song you play. The music that's in this game are actually from local artists in Canada. This is because that's where the studio is located, or the studio is based at. And so they worked with other local artists around the area to include them in the game, which is pretty cool. And then what I'm curious about actually about this game, not confirmed or anything, I don't know if it's an opportunity, but I think what would be pretty cool is if there's a way to add your own music to this game, to upload music to the MP3 so that you can also play your own tunes. But I can understand how that may seem difficult, because how would the game know what genre of song they are? I guess the music files would have that in of itself, but what would be interesting too is if you could set the mood of the song yourself, right? Like I feel like I say this because sometimes like with some somber songs of my own, I kind of find them motivating. It's also not just sad to me. It's like I kind of feel motivated out of it. And maybe even some happy songs are kind of like, not in the best mood for it. Unless I'm just weird. And I guess I listen to music that way. But it would be funny if I play a summer song in the game, but then the world is actually like lit up. Like it's fun and you're fast, and the song isn't like necessarily matching that, but it's just how I feel, right? But I mean, I'm not the main character of this game. We are playing Naomi, I believe is her name, so we are playing it from her perspective. But I think it would be a pretty cool thing if that was like somehow translated to the game. And so the game does not have a set release date yet, but I mean, yeah, it would be definitely a game I'll keep an eye on moving forward. Here I have at second place is Truck Kun is supporting me from another world. It's kind of like a funny title, ridiculous title, but that's exactly the type of game this is. It's pretty bonkers, and I love it. The game is an open world runner game, so you're set like in a cartoonish world mixed with some anime and 8-bit art. and you essentially crash into a bunch of stuff, whether that be objects or pedestrians around the map, and this powers this whole other adventure where there's a knight fighting against like monsters and dragons, and they're like kind of located in the bottom of your screen. And it's the way you see how you progress on that other game is that, or that other world, is when you crash into other things, you start progressing this bar, and that bar is then used for this other character, the knight, to then attack the monsters in their own world. So I think it's good. It's a very interesting concept. It feels like you're playing two games at once essentially. And I think I was looking into the story. It has something to do about the truck that you're driving in the game being cursed, and it's connected to this other dimension where the knight is from. And she also communicates with you throughout the game. I think just telling you like, "Hey, I need help over here. Can you crash into more people or something?" It's very ridiculous. It's funny, but as soon as I saw, I'm like, "Oh man, I gotta play this game." It just seems like a fun time. And the game is set to release on July 29th of this year, so that's gonna be coming up soon. And yeah, I'm excited to give that a shot. Finally, my favorite game from this showcase is Plum Road Tea Dream. This is a first-person autobiographical narrative-focused game set in a very abstract setting where you ponder these environments and you kind of just interact with various things and find a sense of comfort and understanding for the area you're in. And so I actually played the prologue to this game. It's available for free on Steam, and the gameplay is not complex at all. The only actions you do are moving, clicking on items you interact with, and that's about it really. It's I think it's meant for you to just look around, walk around, just check out the area and find some kind of meaning in it. And so what makes the game really special are those worlds that you are exploring. There is an example of one from the showcase, where there's a circle of empty chairs with names and dates on them. The names are people of color in Belgium killed by police, according to the creative director of the game, Samuel Baido. I was looking into a couple of the names, and these are stories of people that are still very recent. The names of one of the chairs, for example, 17-year-old Mehdi Bouda, was killed in a pursuit involving Belgian police in August 2019. And it was reported by the Brussels Times that the police officers involved have been dismissed. And then one of the other names, Saul Abuda, who died in January 2023, the family of Saul filed a suit against the police very recently. And so with the names of these people located within this one world, you are tasked to sit down with the empty chairs and learn what would it be like to be with them around a campfire. And you would just want to sit down and just wonder what would it be like to speak to them, know who they are as people. Definitely something I'm very familiar with. I go camping with my friends, and being surrounded by the campfire is always moments in which we as friends understand each other more deeply than before, and get to really ponder our perspectives together. And I would imagine it would be the same case here within Plum Road Tea Dream. I think this game would find deep meaning amongst many people, and it would be a great learning experience for me as someone who is not familiar with Belgium and the area, and much of the history, for example, like with these cases. I think it's an opportunity for me to learn beyond myself. And this is a great example of like the power of this medium, right? Where the game will put you through these experiences to understand maybe something you're not familiar with, or for those who do relate to it, right, they find like some greater connection to it. And so I believe maybe some folks might not find that kind of connection to this game, which I don't think that's a bad thing. Maybe they just can't relate to it, or maybe it's just too abstract, right? I think it could. This game seems like it could get pretty complex, maybe if it's too much to understand. But I think that's part of the intrigue of this game, is understanding those worlds. And if you're not familiar with them, the game will put you into them, right? Put you through those experiences, put you in these worlds to understand it. to understand whether it's people involved or the story that it's trying to tell. And it's very similar to like Black Sailor and what I said before, how it's an outlook into like history, current events, and just the lives of other people, um, and highlighting just how cool video games are, right? And the power of this medium, uh, putting you actively in these worlds, in charge of these worlds, right? So you're kind of like bound to have a sort of connection to them by playing as them or playing through these experiences with them. And what I do love about these, like, and beyond just what meaning is behind these abstract worlds, I really love how they look. Like, they're very odd. They're very odd, but they're also like peaceful at the same time. And one of the ones I'm a big fan of, showcased in the developer spotlight, was ones where there's like real life scan models of some people, and they're like laying on the floor, and there's these colorful like plants growing around them. It looks very comfortable, you know. Like, I see them lay down, and they're kind of like at peace in some ways, and the plants are growing around them. It's like they are at ease, and I think I that's what at least I'm interpreting from that world. And I'd love to, you know, go through experiences like that in the game and just understand like what does this actually mean, beyond my perception of it. And also it's just very colorful and beautiful to look at. A blend of both realism and then the video game world into one. Oh, and by the way, I love the song in the main menu of this game. It's such a nice tune. It really matches the dreamlike feel and art of this game. And then those are my favorite games from the Black Voices in Gaming Showcase. I hope you enjoyed my ramble of my thoughts on these games. These are for sure, I mean, it's not to say the other ones are not favorites of mine either. I mean, there's a lot of these games that are very intriguing too, beyond my top 5. So I definitely tell you guys to check out the showcase too, to look into these indie games and see which ones intrigued you. But if you're interested in, you know, learning more about them, I do have an article, so you could definitely go ahead and check that out about what I wrote about some of them, to understand a bit of the story based off the showcase, and also links to those video trailers to get more of an idea of how the game looks like. If you're interested in me covering more things like this, getting more of my thoughts and stuff, please let me know using the comment section below. This is pretty fun to do, where I get to cover more of like the smaller scale showcases and give my thoughts on them. And especially with an organization like Black Voices in Gaming, I think is very intriguing to me, and worth the highlight. So this was a ton of fun to cover. And if you also enjoy this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing the video with others. I would appreciate any help and any support on that end. And yeah, this is Marco Hernandez. Thank you so much for your time. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.